Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Animation Pilgrimage, where we watch every theatrically released animated film of all time in order.
That we can get our hands on.
Yes, okay.
Because we actually had to... This is The Singing Princess, or, in its native language, La Rosa de Baghdad. Or La Rosa di Baghdad. I'm not quite sure. I don't speak Italian because this is an Italian film. But It's actually Italy's second Italian film.
Oh, really?
Yes. Or Italy's second Technicolor animated film, I guess I should say. But the first one was The Dynamite Brothers, which we unfortunately could not find anything for. I couldn't find any sort of official release for it, couldn't find anything online, yada yada yada. We've been through this song and dance before, but just wanted to say that we could not find that film.
Yeah, and I think the only reason we were able to find The Singing Princess is because
it's tied to a very important actress.
Yeah, it was actually, I would say probably only a year or two after it was originally made, was brought to the US and dubbed, which I honestly don't know how often that practice happened back then.
Well, I think it was actually dubbed almost right away. Oh wait, no. Actually, I have the notes right here. In 1952, the film was dubbed into English and retitled The Singing Princess.
Okay, so 3 years after its initial release, it was redubbed and brought to America for American audiences. And that seems like a reasonable turnaround time for back then.
Oh yeah, that's quite fast. That's only 3 years later. So
yeah, I mean, like 10 years ago, anime sometimes had to wait 2+ years to get dubbed and
I mean,
distributed.
That's a fast turnaround.
Now we have the internet and we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. So this actress, by the way, that we're referencing, who it was tied to, was Julie Andrews.
Yes.
When I first was trying to look up stuff on this movie and I found out Julie Andrews was tied to it, I was like, what? Really? This early?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, Julie Andrews, as in Mary Poppins, as in
The Sound of Music.
The Sound of Music.
And
Julie Andrews.
Any other original Broadway My Fair Lady.
Yeah, lots of things. But this is her first movie role, and it's playing the scene.
Voice acting, which is important because that's why then Mary Poppins and Sound of Music like to fight over who had her first. Because Sound of Music was the first thing she appeared in, but Mary Poppins was in production before Sound of Music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, boo to both of those. This was her first. And it's reasonable why most people don't know about this one.
Yeah. So you wanna go over the plot?
Sure, I'll do a quick plot. As far as I can tell, this was an original plot.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
This is based on the Arabian Nights.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I was not aware. Okay. So,
I'm not sure how faithful it is to it, but that's what it's based on.
All right. So we have the Khalees, right? The king. No. I think it's the Khalees. I don't know. The man in charge.
Yeah.
The king, the sultan, the emperor, the
guy.
The guy. And it's not actually...
Caliph.
The Caliph. It's not actually his daughter this time around. It's his niece.
Yeah.
So they're not directly related. But it's time for her to get married off to a random prince.
Because she's a whopping 13 or 14 years old. They say that she's like, I don't know, she's somewhere around 13. So it's time she gets married.
Them olden fairy tales. So anyways, there is a particular prince, or not prince, but like local land owning man.
A guy who could marry her.
Yeah, one of the
Eligible bachelor.
yes, it's Jafar. You know, as in like Aladdin's Jafar.
Right.
No, seriously, it's Jafar.
Yeah.
That's his name.
Well, of
and-
course, Jafar's not an uncommon name.
Yeah, but
And especially
also-
if it all comes from Arabian Nights.
Yeah, so it's Jafar, and he's got a wizard friend named like Burke.
Oh gosh.
Burke.
Burke.
But yeah, he's got all the magic abilities. He can fly. He's evil. You know,
Turn people to stone.
turn people to stone. And in fact, he does that to get rid of
The messenger.
the messenger to stop him from going to get any of the other eligible bachelors. So it's literally only Jafar to choose from.
Yeah.
And so to stop him,
The Caliph also has like 3 wise men who are in the story.
I mean, I think you mean 3 little dwarves.
Yeah.
We got Sicky,
Sicky.
Gay, and Rulesy. I don't know. The
There's
one's
the
obsessed
sick
with.
one, and then there's the 2 others.
There's the sick one. There's the one that's obsessed with beauty.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And the other one is all about, I love proclamations. So I was like, I don't
I
know.
guess.
He's rules based.
He's rules-based.
He's a rules lawyer. But yeah, they just look like dwarves.
And
Honestly.
they're not very important to the plot at all,
No,
really.
they do next to nothing.
They kind of,
They're supposed to kind of be comic relief, maybe,
I guess.
but they're not funny.
No. Anyway, continue before
Anyways,
we go into
they
the...
exist in the
yeah.
movie, and the princess, because she's a singing girl, she actually has a little boy that plays for her while she sings. And
Together they make an awesome rock band.
Sure. What is his name? I do not remember his name.
I don't know, and everybody's... Okay, Zila's the princess's name.
Okay.
Amin.
Amen?
Amin?
Don't know. Little white kid.
Little Aladdin boy.
Yeah. So he's like, he finds out about an evil plot. So he uses his magpie that he's trained to steal.
No, he hasn't trained her to steal. She's a magpie, so she steals things.
Yeah.
Magpies steal things.
Yeah, he's trying to teach her not to steal things, but then he's like, well, you're still a magpie, so steal that magic ring that's obviously a bad thing.
Well, because Jafar enchanted it, or had Bork enchant it, so that the princess will fall in love with him, and blah, 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 blah. You can all see where this is going from this point onward. Let's just get into the
Yada
review.
yada. Burke takes him away, and then he falls to his death, and then he gets out.
Yeah, anyway.
And then he, like, helped an old lady at one point, and she's like, here, have Aladdin's lamp now for, like, Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Aladdin's lamp comes out, and the genie and beat Burke, and then all the enchantments are gone, and then he uses magic to make Jafar do a dance and fall in the river and drown to death.
Yep.
And that's the end of the movie, because now the little singing kid is going to become the princess's man-to-be once he gets old enough, because he's like 10.
Yeah.
So that's the plot.
I mean, it's a fairy tale. Mm-hmm. It's a fairy tale, and on that level, it's fine. It's the rest of the movie surrounding it that...
Is not good.
Yeah. Like, and yet again, I don't think this is necessarily bad, but it's not particularly enjoyable, and I don't think I'd
No.
ever want to watch it again,
Probably not, no.
personally.
So, yeah, to start with, I don't think the dubbing that we got was very good. It was very bad and didn't match even a little bit.
No, we bought this on DVD, because we could get it pretty cheap, off Amazon. It was re-released in 2005. On DVD. And I don't think that this movie's been kept in particularly good quality. The only reason that people still carry this around at all anymore probably
because Julie Andrews is tied
Andrews' name is tied to it. And this was...
And she does next to nothing in the movie.
Right. She's not a big part in the movie. She's probably the best actor in it.
Yeah.
And even then, her acting's not spectacular by any means.
Yeah, it's mostly her just singing really boring songs.
Yeah. But it is interesting, because it's got, like, all this weird history tied to it, and yet nobody knows anything about it. So, released in 49, dubbed for America in 52, and then it was re-released in, like, 67, during the height of Julie Andrews' film career.
That makes sense. That way people are like, hey, you want to see the very first thing Julie Andrews did? Watch this pile of crap.
It's not a pile of crap. There's some cute moments. There's, like, some cute things about it. It's just overall very slow feeling, and the animation's not great.
Good.
It's got a lot of animation that they'll play forward and backward a lot of times.
Just to pad time.
Yeah, or just reuse animation. What did you say the running time for this one was?
This movie was 1 hour and 6 minutes long, but it felt like 2 hours.
It felt like 1 hour and a half.
Okay. It definitely ran long. Probably another problem with it, besides just all the reused / forward and backwards animation that happens constantly with every character in every single scene. Like, I don't want to understate how much there is reused in this movie.
Yeah.
The pacing is pretty bad. It's like things just kind of happen for a really long time, and then we go to another scene and things happen for a really long time, but it doesn't really necessarily have anything to do with previous scenes we've seen or anything like that.
Especially the first half of the movie, they're setting up a lot of things that are going to become important in the third act, or they're going to, like, somehow tie together in the third act.
But we spend way too much time on it, and it just doesn't.
Well, and it doesn't feel important. When you're watching it the first time, you're like, okay, yeah, we've watched Amin fix his guitar and the magpie stealing things, and it's like, this scene's going on for a really long time, and it doesn't even seem like this scene is important, like it could have been cut out of the film. And then later it's like, oh no, it's important because now we know that the magpie can steal things. And it's like, okay, that was still a really long scene to establish something that is pretty well known about magpies, but okay.
Yeah. So that's one issue. One weird thing I just want to mention is, like, there are characters that die. Like, people die, animals die, the magpie just straight up dies.
She gets brought back to life.
Oh yeah, everyone gets brought back to life except for, like, 2 people.
Well, the bad guys, yeah.
But, like, the magpie dies, the messenger gets turned to stone.
Burke and Jafar obviously die.
Yeah. And Jafar's, like, random dude. Whip-wielding dude.
Oh yeah, he's got, like, an Igor guy.
Sort of, yeah. It's weird. Another weird thing I want to mention is, look at Jafar in this film. He looks like if Tim Curry was playing Disney's Jafar. Just look at it. I was like, this looks so funny. And
this film came out years before either Aladdin or Tim Curry were a thing. But yeah, he does. He really does.
I found that quite amusing.
Yeah, and the the wise old men or like counselor guys definitely looked like dwarves. And the princess herself looks like she was modeled a lot after Snow White.
That doesn't surprise me.
I mean,
It really
and I
doesn't.
can't say for sure whether they were, but it's like, come on, look at this, you know.
It's probably the one of the most popular animated films of all time at this point in history. So of course they're going to draw inspiration from it for their first film.
Right. Yeah, and I mean...
They referring to Italy.
Right. And for Italy's second animated film, you know, like I said before, this isn't by any stretch horrible, but we've seen a lot better first outings from
Other countries.
other countries. This isn't anything special. And
I would still
who
say
knows?
it's better than Japan's.
China's, you mean?
Both.
Both, yeah, actually. Both.
But this might be the weakest one that we've seen out of Europe so far.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It has heart to it, and I imagine that if we were able to find a copy of this that was still
the
in
original-
Italian,
Yeah.
who knows, that might be considerably better, because the voice acting is a big problem in this one.
Oh, yes. Very much so, because it's obvious that they were not trying to match it up at all with when the Italian characters were talking. And or it might be part of the problem is the animation just isn't good enough, that there might be points where even in the original Italian, the characters are speaking even when the characters on screen are not actually moving their lips.
Right.
It's one of those things that we
They could
don't
have had
know. And
they
I
could
don't
have
know
had a
what-
lot of production issues. We don't.
Yeah. It's like we just don't know enough about this movie and or have seen the original Italian version to know if some of these problems just arose from it being redubbed or if it's problems with the original movie as well.
Yeah. I wish I could see the Dynamite Brothers. That way I would have known, like, okay, where have they improved since then? Or did they improve? Have they regressed, you know?
Yeah, but we just don't know anything about that film. We can't find it.
Nope.
It's like at most we have like what, a poster?
Yeah, I think I was able to find a poster, but that was it. And it's got a Wikipedia page, but the Wikipedia page is just like...
Laughably short.
Yeah, the Wikipedia page is just like, this movie existed. Okay, bye.
Came out in this year, was made by these two people maybe. Fill in the blanks.
Yeah. So, don't know. But yeah, this was an interesting one. I think that pretty much wraps this up, though.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be a super long episode this time, but there really wasn't a whole lot to talk about with this one.
Yeah. So next up, we're done. This is 1949. We're done with the 40s.
Yes, we've watched
Sort of.
all theatrically released films in the 1940s. So, coming up next, we're taking a deep dive into all the various shorts that came out this decade. It's probably going to be a longer episode. Who knows? We might even have to split it into two. We're not sure at this point. But join us back here next time as we watch lots and lots of shorts. I'm guessing there's some wartime propaganda in there, Daniil?
Oh, you betcha.
Oh boy. I'm not looking forward to that.
Hopefully there's some good ones in there as well.
Yeah, hopefully. Who knows? All right. We will see you guys back here next week.